Hey, what's up guys? Drew here over at RevHiker Outdoors, and I want to share with you today some of my all-time favorite outerwear for hiking. Not layers or stuff like that, but stuff that's going to be on the outside. So, stick around. Okay guys, so here we are. I kind of have this thing with jackets, okay? So that's where I'm going to start. I really like jackets. I've had a bunch of jackets over the years, and I want to share with you some of my favorite options for different weather and stuff like that. So I'm just going to jump right in with probably one of the ones I've had the longest that you're going to see here today, and this is just a Columbia rain jacket. Okay, it's a shell. I don't even know like what the name of it is, but I've had this since college. Okay, and I'll try to roll in some clips and pictures of me wearing this stuff on the top of different mountains in the winter and stuff like that. But this thing is tied for the longest, and I've had something along with another Columbia soft shell that I'll talk about next. But this thing is great. It's not the lightest thing in the world, okay? But it has a few pockets, which is very useful for me in the winter. All the pockets zip, and the waterproofing on this has been very durable. I found that Columbia makes really good stuff for less than like the other bigger companies, like or other big companies like North Face and Patagonia and stuff like that. Like Columbia, they might not quite be as fancy as with materials and weight savings as other companies, but they're a lot less expensive and their stuff lasts forever. This thing is over 10 years old, and this soft shell I got when I was in high school. So I mean, this thing, I think I bought this in like 03 or 04, so it's now 2017. This thing has held up, and it's been a beater for the last like 10 years. I just use it for carrying wood, and I mean, it's just, this stuff just holds up. That's part of the reason a lot of this stuff is going to make this list, because it's been very good. Like I said, I've had to respray this a few times for waterproof, but this Columbia shell has just been great. It's a regular nylon shell. It's got the mesh liner in it. Like I said, it's got a few pockets here and there, and this is one of their Omni-Tech. Okay, I've had very good luck with anything Omni-Tech from Columbia. Now, all this stuff, or most of the stuff, I'm going to try to put in my Amazon store, so you guys can go check it out if you want more tech specs and stuff like that, and current pricing and all that. You can go check it out there, and that link will be in the description below. As promised, the next is this Columbia soft shell, and I think it was just called, I think this is a Vertex. Yeah, this is a Vertex Core. So this thing used to be able to like go inside of a shell and snap in. It had has the little attachments on the sleeve so that this can be part of like a modular system. But this is just their Vertex soft shell, and like I said, you see some stains on this thing. It's got some paint on it. I mean, I've just whipped this thing and it won't die. Every once in a while, like once a year, I wash it, and it just holds up. There's no problems with the zippers. Like nothing has broken. It's got the reversible zipper, so you can, again, so it can be used in or outside of a different piece of gear. But this soft shell has probably been one of my go-to things. I'll try to find the picture. But I've summited Mount Marcy in the middle of winter with this as my outer layer. This is really good for me when I'm ascending, because I want something that's breathable. I don't necessarily want my shell on keeping the sweat in unless it's like wet snow or something like that. But this does a good job if you spray it down and repelling the water. The hood is removable. It's like 4 or 5 snaps across the back, and you can take this hood right off, which is really nice. I like everything about this. It's, like I said, it's nothing special, but I think a good soft shell is an invaluable piece of gear during winter hiking and the shoulder seasons as well. Spring and fall. Sometimes that's all I'll need. Along with soft shells, this isn't quite a soft shell. It's a little bit different. This is more of like this is made by Mountain Hardware, by the way. I don't know the name on this either, and I got, most of the stuff I get on clearance, just because I don't feel like paying the premiums that they want. But this is like a fleecy type soft shell. It's not quite, I wouldn't say it's probably as durable as this. It's a lighter material, but this is great. I wear this thing all the time around town and out in the woods. Again, it's nothing special, but it's been really good. I like the zipper. Again, this is not going to block the wind like a regular outer hard shell would, but something like this is absolutely great for hiking in when it's not crazy cold, and this will breathe, so you won't like build up a ton of sweat, and that's kind of what I see this as useful for. Or when it's in the 50s or something like that in the shoulder seasons, or when you're hiking hard, it might only be 10 degrees out, and I've hiked in this in 10 degrees when I'm ascending or when I'm hiking hard, because I don't want to build up all that sweat. So I've just worn this. It dries relatively quickly, and it will bead a little bit of water, if it's like a light misting rain or something like that. Definitely not waterproof by any means, but especially if you spray it down, it's good. And this is, like I said, I'm going to try to find something equivalent to this. This is now probably 5 or 6 years old. You guys notice on this channel I don't always have the latest greatest stuff. In fact, I almost never do. But because I like to get something when it's already kind of past its life cycle and they're bringing in a new model, and I can get something cheap. That's what I usually do. So, but that Mountain Hardwear has been really good for me. Back to a couple more jackets. This is for like extreme cold weather, and this is the Columbia Turbo Down. I think this was the 650 Turbo Down. It's a mixture of down insulation and I think like a Thinsulate, like a synthetic. So it has a little bit of both, and it has the Omni Heat. I am a huge fan of the Columbia Omni Heat. I think it is excellent. It really does add like another level of warmth. It just does. This thing is pretty thick. This is kind of like a puffy jacket, and I usually end up having to unzip this unless it's like on the coldest of days. I've had this last winter and this winter, so I haven't had this long. Now, one thing I will say about this, as much as I love this jacket and as warm as it is and as well designed as it is, there is a design flaw. And that's when you're zippering up the, your pockets. There's like this little flap of this nylon, and it will get caught in the zippers unless you kind of hold them a certain way. So, okay, so it just got stuck as I was trying to unzip this, and that's mostly where it gets stuck, is when you're unzipping. So you kind of have to like put like a weird pressure on it to keep it from snagging, and even then it still will. So that's like my complaint about this. I love the jacket. It's just like this little flap definitely gets hung up in the zipper much more often than we're like. It hasn't ripped, which I'm pretty surprised, being caught in a zipper hundreds of times. It hasn't ripped, so I guess that's good. The other thing I like about this Columbia is it's not as light as other down jackets, partially because it has some synthetic lining, but it also uses much thicker nylon. A lot of these down jackets, like this one here, this is my $40 JCPenney one. You guys have seen that in a bunch of videos. But it's not ripstop, and if you get it snagged on something, that's it. You're going to be bleeding down like crazy, and it rips very easily. Columbia, there's no way it's going to show up on the camera, but this is like a micro ripstop. You can see a grid pattern in there. It's not like a big heavy ripstop, but it is definitely has the grid pattern for the ripstop, which is very nice. This thing has been very durable, like I said. In all the times I've snagged these pockets in the zippers, it hasn't torn it, and it doesn't even look like it wants to tear anywhere. So this has been very good. This is what I use for, I won't usually hike in this because it's too warm, but when you get to camp and you're sitting there freezing, this is what you would layer up. You just throw this on the outside of whatever you got, and you will instantly be warm. I use this also while I'm hunting. If I'm just sitting in a cold tree stand, this will be underneath a camouflage layer. So this has been a really good jacket, and really not that pricey considering what other companies are charging. Next jacket, and I think the last jacket on my list for today. I have others that I really like, but these are my favorites. This is my little $40 JCPenney one. I also have one in my store made by Z-Show that's probably made by the exact same people except for it's hooded. But this is just a light down jacket. This is a 600 fill or 650 fill, I can't remember. But just a good lightweight down jacket is probably one of the most versatile pieces of gear. So you definitely want to have one of those in your arsenal if you're going to be going out in the winter. Okay, so now let's move on to pants. Pants, I'm afraid this section might be a little bit boring, as I only have one pair that I've worn. I think I got these in ski club when I was like 17 or 16 or 17, something like that, and I've had them ever since. I'm now 31, so these things have been around the block. Maybe it was, I don't know. It's been an awful long time. Maybe these are the oldest, older than that jacket even. I can't quite remember. But I have worn these on every winter hiking trip I have ever had. I like them because they're just big enough to get like a layer or two underneath them. They're not really insulated, but I don't like my pants to be because my legs really hardly ever get cold anyway. What I do like about them is this zipper that goes from like your hip bone roughly down to about your knee. And it's just a mesh vent. So it keeps you nice and cool. I tend to sweat a lot, when I'm pushing in the winter. So I really like the fact that I can vent these. The waterproofing on them in the last, I'd say like 3 or 4 years has started to really just die, and I have to spray them probably like twice a year. With some heavy silicone spray, the Kiwi. Yeah, this stuff here. Kiwi Camp Dry. Use that a lot. It's probably time for another pair. For a while I wasn't wearing gaiters with these, and my crampons hit them a few times, and so I've got several rips on the inside of each pant leg. It's just, it happens. But these pants have been absolutely great. They've held up extremely well. Again, this was actually before they called their Omnitech, Omnitech. So it says that it's waterproof and everything, but it's before they came out with any of that branding. I believe they still make these, and they're pretty reasonable for how good they are. These things, like I said, have lasted me many, many years, and I've been very impressed with them. I'm probably going to be replacing them after this season. I've said that for like the last 3 years. I'm like, yeah, but they're still good. So I love these pants. It's probably the only. I'll try to probably find another version of these. Oh no, these are OmniShield. I was wrong. I found a little tag, OmniShield. So anyway, but these are Columbia Vertex. I'll probably end up with another pair of these because they're inexpensive relatively. Comparative to other brands, and they have just held up for a very long time, so I've been very happy with them. Next, let's get into some hats. Let's see what I got here. These are the ones that I pretty much wear all the time. This is not really a hat, it's just a little fleece neck gaiter, but one of these is always good to have. I wear that, a lot during hunting season, and it's really good for hiking, sleeping too. The next thing is a wool hat, and this thing started out life looking like this with a little brim and nice and stretchy. This got thrown in the washer and then the dryer by my wife, and it got shrunk down. This is 100% wool, made in the US. It's just one of those little knit wool caps that you get at Army surplus stores. So I cut the brim out of it, stretched it down, and this is probably my favorite hat for when I'm actually pushing, when I'm hiking hard. I love wearing this. This I will wear as well, but this is kind of like, I don't know, I just really like this thing. It's kind of like I wear it all the time, every day. This I wear a lot hunting. I like the little brim on it, but they're just basic wool. When it's really cold, when it's really windy, when it's really nasty, I love this hat, and I'm so happy that they're still making it. I've had this a very long time as well. More than I think about it. I got this when I was in high school too for ski club again. and it was like 45 bucks at the time. It was a super expensive hat for, you know, and I just like begged my mom till she got it for me. But this has been great. This has like what they call the Gore wind stopper. It's not waterproof, but it is windproof, and that makes a huge difference. You know, kind of, it's cut a little bit low by your ears, got a little stretch panel in the back, and it's kind of tall. There's always like this, looks like a shark almost when you wear this thing. There's always like this little thing up top, but it's just super comfortable, very, very warm, and I like it a lot. And this is my favorite cold weather hat. You know, the nastier the conditions, the better this hat is. That's it for hats. I'm pretty bland on winter hats. I have a lot of hats like this, but for hiking, those are the three that I'll really use, and that'll be about it. I do have a Mountain Hardwear beanie. I don't use it in the winter though. It's just, that's more of like a 3-season camping thing that I do like a lot as well. Next, let's go with gloves. I've had these for 10 years. These are Woolrich rag wool mitten gloves. You know, it's got the mitten that folds over, but it's got the cut off fingers here. Leather palm. You can see the liner on this one is just, it's just smoked. It's torn out of it. I bought these on a 1-year anniversary trip with my wife, year after we got married. So I guess these are 9 years old. I wear them every single season hunting. I wear them bushcrafting. I wear them hiking. These gloves get used a lot. I wear them snow blowing, just whatever I'm doing, I have these gloves on me. And they're, at this point, they're shot. You know, it's got a big hole here. The lining is tearing out of both of them. I feel like I certainly got my money's worth out of them. I probably could take some time and sew these back together, and at some point I probably will. I won't throw them out because I like them too much. But I did buy a replacement just about a week ago, so I can't speak to the longevity of these, but they're built almost the exact same way. They've got the leather palm, they've got the fingers, and they've got the fold over mittens. Rag wool with a lining. Okay, these are made by Redhead. That's a Bass Pro Shops brand, and I've taken them hunting a few times, and I really like them. They're at least as warm as the Woolrich, and they seem to be of a similar quality. So these have been my replacements since I couldn't find the Woolrich ones in a local place, and I really needed a replacement right away. So picked these up at Bass Pro. But any rag wool, you know, mitten glove things, I really like them. I think they're really versatile. I like being able to have my fingers out and then cover them up, and mittens are definitely warmer than gloves. I have another pair of like you know, waterproof gauntlet gloves, but I tend to wear them less and less now, because I don't like how the liner is on those types of gloves. I think they're good, but what I replaced that style glove with was these Kinkos, and these are the pigskin gloves. These are really good. I used some mink oil on them to waterproof them, even though they were already pretty much waterproof. These are pretty popular with skiers, and it's for good reason. They're easy on, easy off. These are a bit stiff. You do have to wear them in, especially if you want to do like fine tasks. But what I do like is the liner is like sewn in there. It's not like one of these removable liners that pulls out every time you pull a wet hand out of the glove, or if you get sweaty and you try to take this off, the liner isn't going to come out. And these are very warm. These they use their heat keep insulation. I have no idea really what it's all about, but I know that these gloves are quite tough. Done a lot of working with axes during the winter for firewood and chainsaw. These are work gloves that are also really warm and great for hiking and for skiing. Pretty much windproof. Really like them. So guys, I'm not going to go into boots today, but as for my winter outerwear, this is my favorite stuff. This is stuff that I've used the longest, that has just kind of proven itself over time, and I'm very happy with how all this stuff has performed. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you've got a favorite piece of gear or something that you really think is a good value or has lasted a long time, go ahead and throw that in the comment section below. Don't forget to check any of this stuff out if you want more. I know I'm not like a details guy with the specs and stuff. If you want the specs, check it out in the Amazon store. The link for that will be below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. God bless you guys, and I will catch you next time.